Hello children. In my previous video, you have studied about the how do organism produce part 1, in which you have studied the asexual reproduction. And now this is the part 2, in which you are going to study about the sexual reproduction. If you like my video, must share, subscribe and like. Now we are going to study about the how do organisms reproduce in flowering plants. So flowers are two types, unisexual flower and bisexual flower. Unisexual flower, when flower contain either male reproductive part or female reproductive part, so that time it is called unisexual flower. Example, papaya. Bisexual flower, when it contain both male and female reproductive part. So these are called the bisexual flower. Example, lily, rose, petunia, etc. Here you can see this is the typical flower, structure of typical flower, in which you can see this green color structure. Green color structure is called sepal. So this sepal, because it is green in structure, it performs photosynthesis process and it provides protection to the plant. Second thing, here you can see the petals. These petals are bright in color structure and it attracts the insect for the pollination. Here are some other labeling: anther, filament. These are the female reproductive part, and stigma, style, ovary. These are the female reproductive part. Now we will see the male and female reproductive part. Male reproductive part is called stamen, and upper part, here you can see this upper part is called anther. Anther is a lobe structure which contain dust-like pollen grain which are yellowish in color, and this tubular structure is called filament. Now carpels. Carpels are the female reproductive part. It contains three parts. It has three parts: stigma, style, and ovary. Ovary is swollen structure. It is present at the bottom. It contains ovule, and each ovule has egg cell. So here you can see this structure is the mature pollen grain. Whenever pollen grain get mature, outer structure get the resistance power, and this outer layer is called exine, which is made up of by the special protein which is called sporopollenin. Now we will see what is pollination. Pollination, the process of transfer of pollen grain from the anther to stigma, is called pollination. How does these passes? By the wind, water, and most of the flower get the pollination by insect. So this process is called pollination. Pollination is two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Whenever pollination takes place in the same flower, so that time it is called self-pollination. When pollination, transfer of pollen grain take place in some different flower of the same species, so that is called cross-pollination. Now we will see how does pollen grain germinate and how does the process take place. Here in this structure you can see the pollen grain. Pollen grain fall on the stigma by the pollination process, as I told you just now, and after that it give rise to the small tubular structure. This tubular structure covering to the style and then enter into the ovary. So pollen tube carry two male gamete. One male gamete combined with the female germ cell or female gamete, and this fusion of male germ cells and female germ cell is called fertilization. After the fertilization, it forms zygote. Zygote divide many times and then it formed the embryo. Embryo is found within the ovary. This is the ovary, and inside the ovary they have the ovule. So embryo is found within the ovule. So ovule, later on ovule become hard and it form the seed, and ripened ovary is converted into fruit. So whenever this all process is going on, later on, petals, sepal, stamen, style, stigma, the structure fall off. Now here we can see the reproduction in human being. So common changes in girls and boys in puberty. Question arises, what is puberty? So the period during which boys and girls reaches sexual maturity is called puberty. So what changes take place during the puberty? Hair grows under their arms, and in the pubic area, hormone production increases in the puberty. Now here you can see the changes in girls and boys in puberty. They have some different changes. In male, facial hair appears, larynx enlarges, create deeper voice, sperm production begins, and shoulder broaden. But in female, breast development take place, hips get widen, ovulation begins, and body fat increases. This is the male reproductive system. In male reproductive system, a pair of testes located outside the abdominal cavity in scrotum. So here you can see this structure. This is called the scrotum, and scrotum provide the protection to the testes. It keep the temperature lower than the body temperature. Now here you can see the vasa deferens. Sperms are transported from vasa deferens to urinary bladder, then passes through the urethra. Urethra is a common passage for sperm and urine. There are few accessory glands. Here you can see this is the prostate gland, bulbourethral gland, and seminal vesicle. These are called the accessory gland. Now question arises, what function they perform? So actually it provides lubrication to the sperm as well as provide nutrition to the sperm, and due to getting nutrition they become mature. Sperms are the tiny body which contain genetic material. Now we will see the female reproductive system. In female reproductive system, a pair of ovary are located in lower abdomen. This structure you can see, this is the ovary. These are the pair of ovary. Now when a girl is born, so the ovary already contains thousands of immature eggs. On reaching puberty, some of these start maturing. One egg is produced every month by one of the ovary. Fallopian tube. Here you can see this tubular structure is called fallopian tube. This is also called the oviduct. So what does fallopian tube do? Whenever egg is released from the ovary, it is transported through the fallopian tube to the uterus. Uterus, both oviduct open into the bag-like structure, and this bag-like structure is called uterus. So here you can see this narrow structure. This narrow structure open into the vagina. So narrow structure is called cervix. This structure is cervix. So now you can see next slide. Development of embryo. How does embryo development take place? The sperm enter through the vaginal passage during sexual intercourse. Then they travel upward and reach the oviduct where the fusion of egg and sperm take place. The fertilized egg, whenever fusion completed, that time eggs become fertilized. Fertilized egg form the zygote and get implanted in the lining of uterus. Again, it continue dividing. Embryo get nutrition from the mother's blood with the help of special tissue. These special tissues are called placenta. Placenta is embedded in the uterine wall. It contains villi on the embryo side of the tissue. Now, this provide means placenta. Placenta provide large surface area for glucose and oxygen to pass from the mother to embryo. The developing embryo will generate waste product, and these waste products are removed by transferring them into the mother's blood through placenta. The development of child inside the mother's body make approximately 9 months, and child is born as a result of rhythmic contraction of the muscles in the uterine wall. Here you can see in this diagram, male and female gamete fuses and they form the zygote. Then zygote divided into 2-cell structure, then it form 4-cell, 8-cell, 16-cell, and after that it formed the blastocyst. This blastocyst continue to growing, developing, and ultimately it formed the mature fetus, which is approximately after 9 months. During the rhythmic contraction and relaxation, after that it released from the body. Reproductive health, as we are taking care of our other body system like digestive system, excretory system, circulatory system, we should take care of our reproductive part also. Reproductive health is a caring of the reproductive processes, functions, and system at all the stages of the life. Sexual act can lead pregnancy or cause sexually transmitted diseases. Sexually transmitted diseases are infections transmitted from an infected person to uninfected person through the sexual contact, example gonorrhea, AIDS, etc. Now, how to avoid pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases? So, first is barrier method. Act as a barrier for sperm to reaching the fallopian tube. Example, condom. This is the example of condom. Now, chemical method. The female uses 2 types of pills, oral pills and vaginal pills. Oral pills are made up of by the specific hormone which prevent release of egg into the oviduct, and vaginal pills contain chemical which kill the sperm. Surgical method, contraceptive devices such as puberty are placed in the cervix to prevent the pregnancy. Some surgical method can also used to block the gamete transfer. It includes the blocking of vas deferens to prevent the transfer of sperm, and that is known as vasectomy. When we tied the knot or cut the small piece of vas deferens, that is called vasectomy, and whenever we block the area of fallopian tube, so that is called tubectomy. So in this way, these are the methods to avoid pregnancy. Thank you very much.